A Souq morning, this lovely morning. Welcome to another edition of Souq Business Landscape. Here we look at headlines across the world, talking business, development, and all the good stuff. My name is Ikenna Mba. With me again today, another lovely, beautiful day. My auntie usually guests, Dr. Idausa Osamaze. Good morning, sir.
Good Nigeria,
I didn't want to say good Nigeria before you, so that it won't seem like chancing. But it's all good. We got, again, always, another anti-usualist guest of mine. His name is Chooks John Rogers. Hello, Chooks. How are you doing this morning?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, Ikenna.
Are you fine?
Good morning, boss.
You're not bubbly like you normally are.
You didn't call the name complete.
What did I miss?
Chooks John Rogers Chooks.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure having you on this show today.
All right, we jump right to it. Business day in Nigeria. Manufacturers bleed as losses rise to 389 billion naira in the first quarter. Wow. Borrowing costs surge ninefold, they say, as big manufacturers, Boa, Dangote Cement, Unilever, all have incurred losses. Doc, what's going on?
It's we cannot but continue to emphasize the lopsidedness in terms of how the economy is being managed right now, especially from the monetary policy perspective. The bank seems to be the only one winning.
Wow.
And every other is bleeding. And I think there's a need for government to take a very deeper look into that, where more opportunities are created for banks to earn more. The manufacturers are bearing the brunt because if you produce and people cannot buy what you are producing, you can't stay in market. And this is what we're seeing. And this is not good for the economy. And I think that the managers of the economy must pay close attention to this. There's no way banks can hire a quarter of what the manufacturing will hire.
Correct.
Now, if the big manufacturing are suffering this way,
Huge.
you can imagine how SMEs and nano businesses will be doing as we speak. So it is not a good time for the economy, really, because we cannot measure the size of our economy or the well-being or health of our economy by how much profit banks are posting. So we must look the other way to see how we can help manufacturers to be able to recover. And this is the trend. And you see manufacturers pulling out. We saw that even Unilever, the little that is remaining, we're looking at what is this other company again? Everybody is thinking the environment is hostile. So government must work on the east to do business. And that means that as much as possible, cost of capital must be as low as possible. That's the only way to go. Otherwise, we will be creating more problem than we
But it's been
tend to
realized
solve.
also that many are saying that buying power is reducing by the
Yes, that is what it is, because it's the same circle. Now, what you're doing is that you're lending at a very high rate, and you are increasing tariff on every places because you have taken away a subsidy. There's not been any substantial increment even in workers' wages. So that reduces the buying power of people. Electricity alone is creating a whole lot of havoc as we speak right now, because you're having people to pay excessively for electricity. And this is companies that are already not making profits. Then, of course, you have to buy petrol. And you're not even having the petrol to buy, and people are buying at the black market. Somebody was telling me yesterday he has to buy a liter at 1,000. So we have to even determine what we want in the first place, because these are the real issue. Because if you are thinking of you want to take away subsidy, then of course the level of your efficiency and effectiveness has to be top notch.
True.
But we don't have those ecosystem created. So all you see is that you have disempowered the people. And I don't know how we're going to do this thing here, but also government is going to make more money. And I think really the business of government is not making more money. It's actually to see how to mediate between the rich and the poor. That's the duty of government, to ensure that the weak are allowed to live. And they are not what usually is regarded to the selection of species, where the strong eliminate the weak. So the function of government is to be in between and see how much we can manage so that the poor people, because you also need the poor people to survive.
But is the government doing that?
That's where we are. And I think that's where the real monetary and fiscal policy in Nigeria really need to work. Up to now, we are still waiting for the yearly report that's supposed to be harmonizing the tax policies, because there are also multiple taxes in the system. So it's just the fact that the managers of the economy are not strategic in the approach to the problem. Yeah, some of the things that they are doing are right, but you have to be strategic in making this thing work and align well. So what you would have done first is, first of all, you say, okay, taxes are too many, because that is affecting manufacturer. You would have tidied up those ends first. Then you come to the subsidy issues, and then they remove it. So one would have been sure that, okay, what people have gained from taxes, they could use to pay for the removal of subsidy. Now the taxes are there, subsidy is removed, and so the industry are breaching from both ends. So I think the managers should be able to sit down and look at the approach and see how we can strategically deal with the issue on the table and see the economy rebound.
But how come only the banks are making such profits?
The banks are making that profit.
How come? Because buying power is reduced, right? There's no money to buy these things. How are they making excessive profits?
We really need a lot of stability in the economy. A whole lot of stability that will be able to make the industries project and get some of their projections right. Then we also need money in our pocket. I need money to be able to go and buy that bread that my kid wants.
That bread that has reduced in size and increased in price.
Instead of looking for the biscuit that will substitute the bread, getting the baker out of the market. So this buying power that we're talking about is as simple as being able to purchase things that you need. We've gone beyond needs now to necessities. So we need that stability. Then for banks, well, you and I know that they take the money directly from
the accounts.
From their account.
They help themselves.
And they are backed by law. That's where we are right now.
Yeah, because you can't keep the money in your hands. The money has to pass through the bank. Now we are talking about charges on deposit. We are talking about charges on withdrawal.
Everything.
Even the ones that are done through electronic channels, customers are paying for it.
Correct.
They are paying for SMS. So why won't banks be big?
And right now they also pay for cyber security.
Yeah, so you have money inside that place, they just remove it and they keep taking it away. So don't even need to do anything, just go to bed and sleep. An NPC sit down and say, oh, we have to remove more money in circulation, and therefore you give them a high rate of 24% to lend. So this is the issue. So how on earth will a company borrow at 24%, take away the management fee, take away all the other things? How can that company survive and make a profit in this world? And then, of course, you are thinking that your products can be competitive in the marketplace. It cannot.
That's another ball game.
It cannot. So we really need people who need to be able to sit down and look at these issues holistically and then take a step to addressing the real fundamental issue of wealth creation. People are thinking, in short, in Japan the other day, government ensured that interest rate was minus 2%, to ensure that the economy survive. And we that has not as developed, that is not even developing, we are increasing our rate to go up and say we are doing inflation control. So I think it's a misapplied logic, honestly speaking.
It is misapplied. Still on business day, UBA grows Q1 pre-tax profit by 155% to 156 billion naira. Is wow the right word?
Yeah.
UBA is making moves,
Investors are smiling to their banks.
like we just said.
More dividend for the investors. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer.
Ouch.
Don't ouch it. When they were selling the shares, where were you?
Did you buy some? Let me know.
He was in his village. He has no idea of what the stock looked like.
So that's great news, by the way.
Chooks could be a helper here, since he has enough of the shares.
Right?
They are for the kids.
Our kids.
The next news.
So still on business day, pension funds flock to T-bills in hunt for higher returns. Stakes here being raised by 42.5% due to PFA's exposure to treasury bills. That's a good thing too, right?
Oh yeah, because it's treasury bills are making so much money, 17-18%. That's massive. You can't find that in the money market. And businessmen look for profit because the sole purpose for investment is to make profit. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So that's all that entrepreneurs know. So we look for where we can maximize it and then put the value in there. And we do hope that that will not also affect the capital market greatly, because we need confidence in that sector.
Yes, and since it's pension fund, it's funds that you are holding for a long term. So as long as there's the credibility within the operations of those pension funds, then we have no issues.
Yeah, but I don't think it's as long term as we can think about it today, because at the time it started, we just say people will start to draw at 10 years. And that was in 2006. So people are already drawing.
Yeah, but new people are also coming in.
Yeah, people are on board.
People are
But of course, the fund is depleting because somebody had to retire and then had to get what rightfully belonged to him or her.
I think I like that last part.
Rightfully belongs to him.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, well, on to Financial Times in Asia. Can Hong Kong property market rebound? So prices and rents have recently been falling for a while. Last time this happened was in the late 1990s. Though there's recently been an increase in activity since the city released its budget last week. But many are saying that this one is not something they can easily get out of. Why property?
Why wouldn't they get out of it? That's the question we should ask. Now, for governments that are proactive, just like Doctor said earlier, they had to come up with a policy for that particular industry. And as we speak, they are telling banks to give them money. And government is standing back and saying, we will stand at 30 for them. And for the banks that are giving money, they're telling, okay, you can reduce what you hold, unlike before. We will stand shorty. Give the construction company, the building side of it, let them build some more. And once that economy is moving, once that sector is moving, then you know that, yes, something is about to happen. So, hey, they will rebound. It might take some time, yes. They had issues for years, but they have plans and it will work.
Shouldn't we begin to practice or try to practice stuff like this, where the government stands behind the sector and say, look, banks, do this?
Now, for them, remember...
I don't think this thing should actually be government alone. And this is actually...
We're saying government because they have the...
What you're saying is even here we do have such things.
Yeah.
They call it a bank guarantee or insurance guarantee.
Okay.
That if you have to do an LC, for example, then of course the banks here will give you a guarantee that even if the money is not passing through, it can be taken from their own reserve. So you have those guarantees happen most places. Yeah, but you see, the real issue here in the property market, you see, is also a function of how good your economy is doing. If a lot of people have property and people are not renting, you know, sometimes ago in this Lagos, you will see house to let will be there for 2, 3, 4 years. Nobody is having it. Because if what you are asking for rent is beyond what people can afford,
There's a problem.
there's a problem. So recently we saw some people even in Lagos here living under the bridge. So these are the kind of things that you see where, of course, rents become not affordable, and then that affects the investors who are in real estate business. So government need to see how to intervene so that those companies are not wiped out completely. Because wiping the company out also will create a lot of employment issues.
Right. So, next headline: Berlin and Brussels partly to blame for Brexit, says would-be German leader. Are we still talking about Brexit? What's going on?
Somebody somewhere is trying to take attention away from something that is important. That's all I get to say.
Yeah, but you see, the real issue is the fact that the sentiment in the UK really was not pro-Brexit.
From the onset.
Yes. You see, and I think it was a lot of misinformation. And this is government propaganda that actually make that referendum to sit through.
And they did vote.
Yeah, they did vote. Yeah,
and let's go on.
Yeah, but you see,
dummy vote.
What you are being told is that your problem is because you are in EU.
Mm-hmm.
That all the job that our children would have been having, EU people are taking it.
Okay.
So if we leave, we will save job for our EU.
Now the job they don't have.
Now, do they have the job? No.
They've lost 2 prime ministers.
Of course, they will continue to lose. So this is the issue because government come with sometimes with a lot of propaganda, and then of course citizens are meant to believe, and they really another here and there. But now having left Brexit, and people are really saying, what is the benefit to United Kingdom for leaving Brexit? But I also feel that maybe what the German leader is saying, we didn't manage it well. We would have encouraged our brother to stay behind so that we would have been better off together. But anyhow, that's just blame game. But somebody was also thinking the other day that Britain may even do another referendum to go back to EU. Who knows?
And this would be a very good time for EU to have some good bargain. If you are coming back, then consultants will tell you what to do.
Strategize properly. All right, on to Financial Express. That's Bangladesh's financial daily publication. Consider public benefits before adopting development projects. So the Prime Minister is saying this, that before they can get into huge investments, in development, they must do balances and checks and make sure it benefits the people. A Prime Minister that cares.
Well, if you say a Prime Minister that cares, but that's human nature. If you're building for the future, that's a different thing. If you're building a project for the people, for a community, that's a different thing. You give a community what the community wants, not what you think the community will want. Correct. Not a project you envisage or drew out by yourself. It's just like what the example Doc gave some time ago, building water boreholes for some women in a village. Whereas the women prefer going to the stream. That is where they can do all their talk and align who they are planning against. And
and it's right next to the farm.
Exactly. How the market should go and which and stores, and you now tell them they shouldn't go and they have this communication, they should go to the borehole. They will leave your borehole for you. So let the community get what the community wants.
And you have not created a center where they can come together in the evening and have the same chat.
Parliament, the people Parliament.
Yeah, but I think it's important to also look at it that at the heart of every civilization and development is the human being.
Correct.
Even in creation, for some of us who take the perspective of a creator God, you find that at the center of creation was man, his survivor. And so God thought man needed to survive. And what did he do? He didn't create man first. He created an ecosystem where a man can survive. And the first thing he created was a firmament. And you know, in biblical texts, they say it was firmament. But what is in the firmament? Oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus. All the basic elements that man will need to survive were created first by God. And he knew that man was going to be drinking agbo because a native doctor is here.
Yes.
So he created some plants. He had created some, of course, photosynthesis for those plants to be able to produce fruits and to be able to, so that, of course, we can have mango, we can have apple. Then, of course, created fishes for pepper soup, and then ishewu and the rest of it. All of this were put in place to just make man survive. And this is God.
Get man and put it in there.
So he didn't do all this because he was doing it for the purpose of man. And therefore, at the center of every development or civilization must be man. So every nation must think like God and see what is good and convenient for a man.
For the people.
And anybody who will not prioritize the citizen over and above project cannot be seen to be a very good leader.
Okay.
And I think that's what the Prime Minister Bangladesh is demonstrating, that look, we need to put our people
first
at the center of our civilization and development. And I think that's very critical.
Amazing. Next headline: investment, employment, basic allocations disprove growth data. Now, this shows overvalued development projects like a bone in throat. Also, Bangladesh's bank access restrictions meant for information build back may go in aid of syndicates. This is just such a long thing. Next headline: interest regime being deregulated from smart control. Now, major decisions are on the way as the CBN is set to make major monetary decisions as regards Bangladesh. Bangladesh has been on the news for a while. They are doing big things. Profits, in development, in their businesses, low taxes. Maybe we should take a cue from Bangladesh.
Yeah, we can take some cue from Bangladesh in terms of industrializing the society, and they have done really so well. Yeah, but you see, in terms of competitiveness, this is where the real issue is for Bangladesh right now. And of course, you have to produce at a price that you are able to sell to other people that is as competitive as possible. But they also have issues with managing their monetary policies. Because number one, their forest is also having issues, and you need to shore this up. So creating that enabling environment, the ease of doing business, so that people have access to cash and you can produce at very reduced price, because it's the only way you can go to other people's country and you want to sell. If your prices are not competitive, nobody buys from you. And I think this is one lesson we can actually learn from Bangladesh, that people who manages the economy are looking at, ultimately, governments are not going to be judged by a star project that you have done, but they will be judged by the collective well-being of the citizens.
As regards that point.
And the real truth of the matter is that if you're making your citizens' welfare a priority, by welfare I don't mean palliative, because I know some people thinking welfare now and said government is giving 5,000 to people.
Where should we go to?
No, I don't believe in those palliative stuff. So if government prioritizes the welfare of its citizens, in other words, you create an enabling environment for people to be very productive,
to thrive,
and then to produce things that they can sell. Then what do you get? You have the opportunity. Just take, for example, rice here. The locally produced rice cannot compete in terms of pricing with the rice that comes from the back borders. And that's something really we have to think about. Just imagine that we create that enabling environment where we can produce rice that is far cheaper than whatever thing that Thailand can import. We will not have business shutting our borders. Because if you are bringing in the rice into the country, the consumer will know that the one that is produced here is cheaper. And they will not want to opt for the foreign one that is more expensive. And this is where people use this tariff to manage their balance of trade. So we here, we have not created an enabling environment where our businesses can produce items that if we have to compete, even with our neighbor, Togo, Benin, Niger, Chad, that we can be as competitive. Not to even talk about taking this thing now through very expensive logistics to Europe. So this is where we need to really learn in terms of managing the economy. That when people talk about the ease of doing business, it's much more than registration of business at CAC.
CAC. Very important people. Yes, for Bangladesh, that's where we were. Also remember that they have very good competitors and they happen to be neighbors. India
right?
is on this side. Then down far to the east, you have China. And their fabrics and their tailoring material, every one of them is pushing it. And also remember that there is the West somewhere there trying to have a foothold against a China on that other side.
Yep.
So there is a whole lot of politics going around
Healthy competition.
that not just healthy, going around our economy. So China is also trying to say, we are Asian brothers, stay closer to us. The West is saying, no, come closer to us. So hey, they'll survive, they'll do good.
The battle of the survival.
Yeah, but it's just the ability for people to think and let the mind be active. And that's what people just need. So you have to find a way to create that national competitiveness for your products. You know, we talked about them so well. Their sales of garments in the last year, financial year, was over 400 billion US dollars.
Great.
And that was really massive. So you need to be able to get more from the market. And you can only compete, like Philip Cotter would say, either by price or by differentiation. So if you are not differentiated, then of course your price must be good enough so that you can beat your competitor to it, because this is a red ocean market.
Either of those two, or you don't have a play in the market. On to Gulf Times. QFCA, Hong Kong FSDC form partnership to drive financial sector development. So the Qatar Financial Center Authority and the Financial Services Development Council of Hong Kong signed this MOU. Shouldn't we see more of these things in Africa, where nations partner with nations? You know, the CBN partner with another country's CBN, and they just come up with incentives, like you talked about, strategy that would move the economy forward.
Yeah, that's where we are. Collaborations. That's the game, really. Now, I was saying to somebody the other day, where today the skills for sales is the ability to build relationships. So critical to every company, every nation that's doing business, relationship management is what is critical. And in a globalized world where, of course, there are no borders, and of course, we're also seeing that anybody can be anywhere, the best way to do is to synergize and leverage resources by two parties, and then take the benefit of economies of scales.
Someone said the best investment is in people.
Yeah, of course, really. Relationship management, that is what it is. So there's nothing you do today in the world if you cannot manage relationship, you know, even in terms of procurement today, really. What people talk about is relationship management. So we have to invest a lot in terms of building relationships, building bridges across divides. And this is what's happening here between Qatar and Hong Kong.
It's amazing. And also to buttress that, people do business with people that they know. For instance, you write a proposal, you put it in. I don't know you from Adam, I'm just reading that. But if I know Chooks and Chooks says, I know Doc, you see that's going to work. It's going to work straight up because I know him, we have that relationship. And when you think about it and look at things in the grand scheme of things, that's what's going on. People do business with the people that they know. Amazing stuff. On to another next headline. Sheikh Khalifa visits Algeria to promote commercial and economic ties. What we're talking
It's
about.
the same place where you're coming from.
Same thing we're talking about.
Which place is it? Enugu, Abia State. Where is it coming from?
Somewhere between. Somewhere between. It's the same. These collaborations and these corporations and these they won't end. Everybody is looking for a partner for progress, and Africa should wake up. Africa, in my view, Africa should look more inwards than looking
I agree. Totally.
away from that.
I think I need to collaborate with Chooks for a better lunch today.
I agree totally. On to Business Post. BGMEA seek BCCI cooperation to narrow trade gap with China. Still on the same collaboration. I love the sound of it. But you notice that a lot of these collaborations haven't been happening. This is springing up recently.
Yes,
No,
it has
Because you see everybody as a competition. Your competitor.
Yeah, but you see, the models are what are changing.
Mm.
Yes, as business model changes, a whole lot of things are emphasis.
Strategy.
Yeah, of course, that's what people are thinking. They say, so how do we
Achieve more.
achieve more with what we have? This is the real business game today. People are thinking, how can I get more from this guy? And this guy said, okay, you have. So we're going back to where humanity started. You remember those days you started your early economics class. They taught you about trade by barter. So you see, this is where the word actually started from.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some goats, and then you have some yam. I don't mean those goats in a sort of dosha because. So you have some goats, I have some yam. So we have to weigh it out and see how many tubers of yam can exchange for my one goat. Then we can do the exchange. That's how the world was moving until money came in as a means of measuring value. So I think that's where we have gotten back again to. It amazes you to see how this collaboration is working. A Boeing aircraft, for example, alone is not produced in one country.
Definitely.
All the parts are coming from over 35 countries across 6 continents.
And Boeing is assembling.
Amazing.
So one person is assembling. So the parts are produced in all different parts of the world. So you can imagine the level of collaborations that will still continue to happen, because if you have to pioneer any innovation or technology, then you most definitely have to leverage those who have the wherewithal to assist you to do whatever thing that you want to do. So collaboration. So I am learning my own relationship management, and I think I need to perfect it, and I must have a good lunch today.
We'll start with that launch. Yes, I agree. Inflation to come down within targets by the end of fiscal year. This is coming from Waseka. Also, proper planning must for foreign loan rescheduling. Deba Priya says this. That's from Bangladesh. On to the business standards. Bank for 1% to 2% project provisioning. Now, R81 proposed 5%. Industry sees short-term pain. Fear factor.
Yeah, but I think that is also something that we need to also learn from the Reserve Bank of India. That banks are proposing to their government, to their central bank, that the hiking of rate from 4 to 5% will not do the economy any good.
Hiking of rates from 4 to 5%
will not do
their
economy any good.
What's our rate?
We will come to that later on.
We're talking about 24%.
So they're actually proposing 1% to 2%.
Okay. That's for an economy that is
Yes.
bigger than ours.
Yes. So this is what they are proposing. You see, because what we must understand is that at the center of every development is the people. If people are not empowered, they will not be able to patronize whatever thing you make. You can imagine that Modi is doing all this thing in India to see how to marry social capital with investment capital. So which is the people. And that investment in people is for me a very critical one. And I think this is where those who also are in charge of our monetary policy need to really learn and borrow a leaf to see how do we empower people. It's all not anything else, is empowering the people, empowering the people, empowering the people. And that must be the driving force for whatever thing or policy that government is thinking about. I was sharing with a group of people the other day, civil servant, and I told them, you see, government is not about taking more revenue. The function of government is enabling. It's not control. So what we do more in this part of the world is we do a lot of control rather than facilitate. So if government become a facilitator or a mediator, you will find that more businesses will spring up. Then, of course, you will have less unemployment.
And more tax.
And your tax base widen the more. And then the money really you want, more money will now start to roll in.
I wish we saw it like that.
So we need to understand that is putting not the cart before the horse. The horse must always be at the front. And this for me is where we need to learn and borrow a leaf from what the Reserve Bank in India and the banking system in India is doing. You see, because this is the difference. CBN is proposing something and the bank is saying, no, this can't work. This is what is likely to work.
Yes.
Because they are operating. But the reverse is the case in what we saw in business day to day.
And on that note, we'll come to the tail end of Souq Business Landscape. Thank you for joining us. See you same time on Friday. Remember, we're on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So keep a date with us as we look at these headlines and begin to look at how it affects us over here. Thank you, Dr. Idausa.
Please don't forget to manage my relationship with Chuks.
Thank you, Chuks John Rogers.
I look forward to the lunch.
Thanks to you as well. See you next time. Have a lovely day.